Hello, this is a video to start trying to capture some Sudoku tips just as I play a game. Um, I don't claim to be a fantastic Sudoku player, but I have developed a bunch of techniques for myself that maybe you'll find interesting or useful. So I'm just going to start a brand new game, and I'm going to really start from scratch in this video. So the first thing we're going to do as we play is just erase candidates. Like this 3, if it's here, means it can't be anywhere else in that block, so erase that. And it can't be anywhere else in the row, so erase that. And it can't be anywhere else in the column, so erase that. And do it again for the 4, and so on and so forth. Um, and then, because that's pretty boring and simple and menial, I will just have my app do that automatically. So this is one help that I just always play with personally because, I don't know, I like to. And now there are some things that are super easy to spot, like these lone singles. So that's certainly a 9. And this is certainly a 7 and an 8. And again, this is the other one that I just let the app do for me. Um, Everything else I like to do manually, but those 2 erase candidates and lone singles I like to just let the app go. And now the very next thing I do personally is just scan the board without any specific technique or restriction of steps or being methodical or careful. Just find things. This is like the beginning. It's just kind of fun, open play. If you happen to spot anything, like this is the only one in the block, so I'm going to put that in there. And there aren't a lot of things that I can just spot easily and very quickly like this. I usually kind of scan for naked pairs because I find those pretty easy to spot, like without being careful. And I already, oh, there's a 5-9. Oh no, there's nothing else in the column. Nothing else that I'm seeing just right off the bat like that. So now I kick in my being thorough mode and play most of the game. So this is going to enter sort of my first phase where I'm going to go scanning row by row, column by column. And the first thing I'll do is mark strong links and get rid of omissions. And I'm going to do this for the whole board. So I actually go with, I don't know what to call them, little mini rows. So like rather than looking at the whole row, I'm going to look at just the top 3 candidates of the row. And there's just 2's there, and there's 3 of them, no strong links there. Let's go to the second mini row. And look, we have only 2 5's in that little mini row. So I'm going to mark a strong link. And there's 3 6's, so nothing there. There's 2 9's, so strong link. And I will just continue like this. I think there's only that and 5's. Yep, 5's. 7, 9, no, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8. 2 8's. And I do look while I'm doing this for omissions that use all 3. If I spot one, I will point it out as we go. 5's, 9, no, 3. And I'm not perfect, but I'm usually pretty good doing this. Oh, and I'll actually hide this because I find it, if this is open, sometimes I'll glance over and knowing that there are 18 more strong links to mark on the board um, can influence me in a way that I don't want to be influenced. I a general philosophy, I prefer to only do things that I could do on paper. I don't know why. That's just what I like. Um, and if I'm doing it on paper, there's not going to be any menu telling me how many strong links there are left to mark. Okay, looks like, oh, no, not 9's, 3's, 5, 6, 6, 6, nope, 7, 8, 7, no, 9, 2, 4, 9. Yes, 9. Oh, and then of course down here, that naked pair always has strong links between them. And then I move on and do the exact same thing in the columns, the mini columns. So 5s, yep, mark those. 9s, 4, 7, no, lots of all those. Lots of 2s. Okay, so here there's 3 2s, so I can't mark the strong link, but I also take note that there are no other 2s in a different block. So I look to see if there are any 2s to eliminate, and there weren't in this case, but hopefully we'll see an example of that. 1. Now here I marked a strong link within a single block, and so I need to scan to see if that lets me eliminate 1s over here, which in this case it doesn't, but is a useful step to keep in mind, because that lets us scan for these strong links and also omissions at the same time. 2, 3, 6, 9, 4, 7, 2, 8, 6s. We're running out of things here. 2, but none to eliminate. 3, 9, 3. Yeah, I finally got something. Oh, wait, nope. There were 3 3s. I missed it. 9, though. 4, 7, 8. Nope. 3, 9. 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. Cool. And now, one more time, scanning the board again for these strong links and omissions, but this time focusing not on the rows or columns, but the blocks. So within the block, 2, 5, 5? Yep, only 2 5s in there. And these 5s, they're really a limiting factor. 7, 9, no, 1, 2, 6, 6. Oh, interesting. I don't remember marking any 6s before. 7, 8. Aha! Now we've got a good one. So here, finally, this is going to give us an omission. So these are the only 2 8s in the block. And whenever I mark a strong link, I want to scan the other intersecting house. So I marked the strong link because of the block, so I should scan the row. And look, that lets me eliminate these 2 8s. Because we know that one of those is an 8. We got a strong link there. And it lets us eliminate those 2. And then I want to scan to see if that lets me make a strong link now in the other intersecting things of the cells I just eliminated from. So the row here, oh look, and it does. Now there's only 2 8s in this row. Column. And here, and also only 2 8s in that column. Lovely. All right, so we were doing this block. We did 8s, then that should finish it for us. So 2, 3, 4, 7, 8. We got marked already. 9. Looks like we can do a 9. And when they're on the diagonal like that, there's no other omissions to scan for. 1 is already marked. 4, 5. Those 5s, I tell you. Lots of marks on 5s all over the place. 6, 9, no. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Again, already marked. 6, 7. And when you're doing this, if like I'm doing, I just did 7. As soon as you spot 3 7s, you're done. You're looking for only strong links. You don't have to carefully look at every single cell. Okay, 8, 9, 3, only 2 3s. And that was diagonal, so there's no omissions to scan for. 4, 7, 8, 8, 9. And 4, 7 is already done. Okay, so that was sort of phase, what was that? 2 for me. So first was just scan for anything that you happen to spot. Usually for me, it's usually just naked pairs. Afterward, Carefully scan rows, columns, and blocks for strong links and omissions. Now phase 3 is a quick one for me, but I take a pass through the board looking for hidden pairs and unique rectangles. And I do it at this point in time because these strong link marks are going to help me do that really quickly. Well, more quickly. So I scan looking for 2 patterns at the same time. So for hidden pairs, I would start like this. Look, we have 2 strong link marks in the same cell that are pointing the same direction, both down. So I'm going to scan down and see if they meet in the same cell or if different cells. If they meet in the same cell, then that's either a hidden or a naked pair. If it's not naked yet, you can make it naked. This one already is. Maybe we'll see a better example soon. Nothing else to notice there. No, nothing pointing the same direction. No cells with 2 strong links pointing the same direction. I do see a potential beginning of a unique rectangle here because this 2-7 matches that 2. So a naked 2-7 matches another 2-7 in the same block and something else, block and row or block and column. In this case, it's block and column. So we could scan across the rows to find matching 2-7 pairs, like here. I think we have 2-7 filled in here, and we have 2-7 filled in here. So there's a possible unique rectangle there, a possible unique rectangle there. However, most of the varieties of unique rectangle are going to also include a strong link coming off of this more populated cell, going toward one of the other corners. And it doesn't, so I'm just going to ignore it. I don't think it's very unlikely we're going to get a unique rectangle there, so I don't I don't spend my time on it. Okay, so here's a 3-8 that is in the single cell, and they have strong links pointing the same direction, but they go down to different cells, so there's no hidden pair there. Okay, here's a 1-4, but again, this doesn't have strong links going either direction, so I'm not going to look for unique rectangles. 1-8, no. Here's a 2-9, but that goes to a 2 and a 9, not a hidden pair. Okay, I don't see anything. Now, sometimes I like to just peek, and sometimes I influence myself in a way that I wouldn't if I was using pencil and paper, but I consider it part of my learning process. How did we do? I missed 2 strong links, but there were no hidden pairs, and there are no unique rectangles. So, not too bad, not too bad. Okay, so this was all the sort of mechanical, methodical stuff of my whole process. Now it gets more into just, personally, I, from this point, like to just scan for chains. Just scan for chains. And I look for chains a bunch of different ways all at once. And for me, I enjoy the process of even just like trying to trace out a long chain to see if it's even going to work out. So I spend most of my time playing Sudoku doing this and liking it. I like it more when I find one. But so I'm just going to start from the top left, and I just work across the rows, left to right, like a reading order. And so I'm going to find 2 situations that are going to cause me to start looking for a strong link from that point. So if there are more than 2 candidates in a cell, then I'm going to start from any of the strong links and use them as a starting point for a chain. If there are only 2 candidates in the cell, then I'm going to pick one that does not have both a vertical and horizontal strong link. So I'll talk more about that as we get to it. But anyway, so to start with, I'm going to start from this 9. In fact, let me do this just to sort of highlight that for everybody. I'm starting from that 9. And my goal is I'm going to follow a chain around, hoping to either land on another 9 that lets me do an intersection. So like I could, well, if I were to get to this 9, for example, then it might let me eliminate this one. Or if I were to get to this 9 or this 9 or those 9s, it could eliminate these 2. So I say if this is not a 9, then this is a 9, which means that that's not a 9, which means this is a 9, which means it's not a 2, which means that is a 2. And I can use these strong links I marked out to be able to sort of quickly find find chains, and then the question is do any of them lead to an elimination? So I've done a pretty long chain already. If that's not a 9, that is a 9, which means that's not a 9, which means that's a 9, not a 2, 2. So if that's not a 9, this is a 2. That's a pretty long chain that we were able to scan and find. It just doesn't do us any good. What we want to land on is if that's not a 9, then something else in this, in an intersecting, in a house, in another cell that sees this 9, if we can say that is some value, maybe there's an elimination. Or if something is a 9 that intersects, like we could eliminate one of those. So let's see. We ended up saying that was a 2. I don't really see. Oh, not a 2, 7. Not a 7, 8. Now this is cool because we're in the same house as our starting point. So if this had a 9 or that had an 8, we could eliminate them, but we don't have that yet. So not a 9, that's a 9, that's an 8. And I'm not seeing much there, which means that's not an 8, which means it's a 1, which means that's not a 1. We have a 4 here and a 6 there. Aha, there we go. So if that's not a 9, we end up saying that is a 6, and we can do something with that. So let me just trace now. Let me trace it out and make sure that's true. So I follow, this is what I always do. I sort of follow chains around and around and around until I find a potential elimination. Then I try to do it again, because very often I find I made a mistake. So if I can do it twice, now I'm feeling confident. So let's see if we can get to this 6 again. Not a 9, 9, not a 9, 9, not a 2, 2, not a 7, 7, not a 7, 8, not an 8, 1, not a 1, 4, not a 4, 6. Okay, I feel confident. So if this is not a 9, then this is a 6. This is a type 2 alternating inference chain, I think. So there's 2 possibilities in the world. Either this is a 9 or it's not a 9. If it is a 9, then it can't be a 6. If it's not a 9, we follow our chain around, we decide this is a 6, it still can't be a 6, because this one is. Therefore, in both possible worlds, that's not a 6. We can eliminate it. So I sort of, this is, now you've seen the bulk of my methodology. I'm just going to keep playing. Now I still have, my starting cell has more than 2 values. One of them has a strong link. So I'm going to keep going. Maybe I can eliminate one of these other 2 possibilities. So if that was not a 9, and I'm going to pick up back from where we left off, then this is a 6, not a 6, 6, not an 8, 8, not an 8, 1. I feel like we've been down here before and I'm making a loop. Yeah, not a 1, 4, not a 4, 6. Let's see, not a 6, 6, not a 6, 5, not a 5, 5, not a 5, 9. There is something useful. So if I end on saying something is a 9, then we've made essentially a strong link between these 2 9s. in which case it would eliminate that one, because either this one is a 9 or that one. There's a strong link there, which means it can't be that one. Let me follow that around again and see if I can produce it a second time and feel confident. Not a 9. 9, not a 9, 9. Not a 2, 2, not a 2, 7. Not a 7, 8. Not an 8, 1. Not a 1, 4. Not a 4, 6. How did I get there? Not a 6, 5. Not a 5, 9. That was a slightly different way, but I got there again. So that means I can be pretty confident. I am confident that is not a 9. Now something I forgot to do last, so this is our strong link, bam. Forgot to do last time, we eliminated that 9. Now there's only 2 9s left in that row. And there's still more than 2 left in this column. Awesome. Still, we have 3 candidates here, one of them with a strong link. So I still want to keep going and see if I can eliminate one of those 2 values. So I'm starting from there just to keep everyone aware. Not a 9, 9. I can just do that directly now. I've got it marked out. I don't have to follow a crazy chain to see. 9, not a 5, 5. We're left with a 2, 7, 2, 4, 7, 2, 4, 6, 7, and 4, 6. I think those 4 6s can be resolved, but I gotta get a 2 or a 7 somewhere. That's gonna let me. Not a 9, 9. 9 out of 5, 5. And you can't always do it, or I can't always do it. You know, eventually I feel like I've followed all my chains as far as I can take them, and I give up and I move on to the next starting point. I haven't quite given up yet, but I'm getting close. 9, 5, 5. Not a 5, 5. That one was interesting. That's 5. No, not as interesting as I thought. Not a 9. 9. Not 9. 9. 2. 7. 8. 1. Okay, that's an interesting one. Now, it took me a long time to be able to start spotting things like this, and I don't know if it's going to lead anywhere, but I noticed that we had, I want to say, a 7 here and a 1 there, which eliminates both of those, which would make that a 3 in this case. And maybe that's not even useful, but if I could say that, and I'll go back and verify it, if this is useful, that was a 3. You'd have a 7, 8, 3, 1, not a 1, 1, 7, 8, 3, 1. We'd be left with a 2, 6 pair here. I don't see how that's going to help it in any way. Okay. Well, since I'm on a video, I won't keep pressing that matter and hope that if I move on, we'll get to something more interesting quickly. So I want to move on to start doing that crazy chaining from a different spot, because I feel like I've almost exhausted this starting point. But before I do, there's a new thing I'm starting to try, and I don't know if I'm very good at it yet, but I'm going to try the other possibility. So my starting point is usually, if it's not a whatever. Now, especially because I came up with that led to a lot of implications. You know, I've got a lot of cells that I set the value of all over the board. I'm going to flip it. I'm going to say, okay, let's imagine if it is a 9 and see if there's any conclusions we can draw when we combine that with the conclusions we saw before. So if this is a 9, then we have a 7, 8, 1, 4, 6, 5, 9. Ah, I think I just said if this is a 9, then this is a 9, which would of course be impossible. So in that case, the starting premise must have been wrong. If we start from saying this is a 9 and we end up with something impossible, that starting premise must have been wrong. So let me try that again. If this is a 9, we have 7, 8. How did I just do that? 1, 4, 6, 5, 9. Okay, there we go. Now this is going to be very powerful. That cannot be a 9. Now, I've got these strong links marked out, which are going to, in fact, I'm going to turn this off for a minute. So if I have these empty strong links, that means we had identified previously that if this was not a 9, then this must be a 9. So I can just set that value. And now I can also set this one because of that empty one. And now we've got an empty one there, we can set this one. And now we've got an empty 2 there, we can set this one. And there was an empty 5 there, so we could set that one. Oops, that's not a 5. Undo. And keep following these around. Oh, there's an empty one which points down to this 9. And this 3. And okay, so all those strong links we had marked out, it reminds me of Schneider notation. It lets you very quickly leverage all the previous relationships you found. Okay, we just did a bunch of stuff. Now we could back up to earlier steps in our process. I can back up to earlier steps in my process. And I'm going to start, I just happened to notice as I glanced at the board, like my very first step was just scan to see if I spot anything without trying to be methodical. And I did. Naked pair eliminates that 7, which makes it an 8. And that 7, which makes it a 6. And now that's a 7. And I wonder if we busted the whole puzzle. Feels like we probably have. Uh-huh. Hey. Okay, well, 28 minutes. I could make more videos like this if anyone is interested.